lovely Norfolk, Nebraska. Hello again. Here we are with a new episode of the Great American Rail Trail Trip with Warrior Expeditions from last summer. In this episode, we were in what seems like a constant battle with the weather as we complete our leg through Iowa and begin our trek across Nebraska on the Cowboy Trail. Fighting wind, rain, mud, you name it, we had it. As usual, I'd like to thank everyone involved that made this trip happen. Huge thank you to Warrior Expeditions and all of their sponsors and supporters, and to all the awesome people we met along the way. Thank you for everything you did to see to it that we had success on this trip. If you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, and share. It truly means a lot. And to all of those who have done so already, a huge thank you for continuing to follow this trip. Without further ado, please enjoy. On day 34, we left Coon Rapids, Iowa, and made our first stop of the day at Albert the Bull Park to see Albert himself. A little further down the trail, we ran into Mike, Dave, and Randy, not in that order, who told us about a plow and an oak tree. We are south of Exira, Iowa. Exira, E-X-I-R-A. I don't know, I'm probably not pronouncing it right. Anyways, we ran into some gentlemen that told us about a plow and an oak tree. This is that plow. Now, the legend goes that a young farmer by the name of Frank Leffingwell was out here plowing his field one day early in the Civil War. Well, overcome by patriotism, after speaking to some of the Union officers, Frank leaned this plow up against this oak tree and joined the Union Army. He never returned from the war. After a short history lesson, we were back on the road. That evening, our neighbors invited us over to roast hot dogs over the fire, and we obliged. The next morning started off grand. My phone was on life support most of the morning, so there was no video. But that didn't stop us from stopping by the Gress Locker in Hancock for a 3-pound resupply of some of the best beef jerky I've ever had. Afterwards, we took a lunch break at Botna Bend Park, where we met some buffalo and took pictures with them the only safe way possible. Then it was back on the road heading to Council Bluffs. The campground that evening had no shade, but they did have a lake to take a dip in and cool off. Standing atop the beautiful pedestrian bridge, Missouri River, as we cross over into Nebraska from Iowa. Right here is the state line. You can see it there. Iowa, Nebraska. We closed out the Iowa leg of our trip as we made our way into Omaha close to noon on day 36 and spent some time checking out the city and some really amazing sculptures. On day 37, we took a 0 day, and I spent most of my day here in the bike shop. On day 38, Callie and I packed up and headed south. We were almost across the Platte River when...
Are we? Yeah. Okay. Okay, now we're crossing the Platte River. Is it clean?
Little update. We're getting kind of a slow start this morning. Had a hellacious storm come through early morning, so it's 8 o'clock. We haven't even begun to get ready to leave yet, kind of letting the storm pass. Gracious host here that allowed us to stay a little later, have breakfast, but you can see off in the distance that is the storm that hit us, and this is what's remaining of it. So yeah, that's what we do when it rains, is we hide and find as much cover as we possibly can. Thankfully we were here in Murdoch, Nebraska last night with again, gracious host, and yeah, took good care of us, so kept us out of the storm. That's our day.
Due to intermittent rain, I didn't get any video on the ride to Lincoln out of Murdoch, but I did get this picture of Sasquatch.
6 hours later.
Our host in Lincoln let me drive his car. I really like this car.
A bit of a speed trap here. It's about 25, and sometimes they like to just sit.
On day 40, our host Scott and his friend Barry started our day out with us.
So here we are leaving Lincoln. Our host Scott riding with us. His friend Barry. And the team red, white, and blue jersey.
Scott would eventually turn back, but Barry would continue to ride with us to our host's home in Brainerd. When we arrived, our host had a day on the lake planned, which we were invited to. and we were extremely grateful for. What a way to spend Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
Day 41 conditions were windy, to say the least, with more light rain all day. We fought it and eventually found a landing spot for the evening, where we had to tie down our sleeping pads, or we could have just used our tents.
It's a beautiful sunset, like that one right there behind me. That is amazing. I enjoy getting to see sunsets like this every night. I mean, look at that sky. It's just beautiful.
Day 42 had us moving north, towards Norfolk. The best part of this leg was the tailwind that pushed us over the hills. When we arrived in Norfolk, our host Chuck wanted to see what it felt like to be us. He eventually gave the bike back. Later on, we were given a tour of Norfolk, which I found out happens to be Johnny Carson's hometown, and I also learned a little bit about the history of it.
We're staying in Norfolk, Nebraska. If you look at a map, though, you won't find a Norfolk. What you will find is a Norfolk. The reason this is, when this town was originally founded, it sat on the confluence of the South Fork and the North Fork of the Elkhorn River. Group of settlers, immigrants, came down from Wisconsin. They decided to build a new homestead and town on the North Fork of the Elkhorn River. So when they filed for their incorporation papers for the government, it was Norfolk, Norfork. When they went home to get all the rest of their families and bring them back, they had received a letter from the government saying, "Congratulations, you are Norfolk, Nebraska," thinking that the spelling was a typo. So in 1867, Norfolk, Nebraska was founded, but spelled Norfolk. That's a little history.
The next morning, we grabbed a picture by the lake and found our way to the famed Cowboy Trail.
I should have grabbed a picture of that sign up there that said, yeah, there it is, Cowboy Trail Trailhead in Norfolk. So here we are. We should be good.
Right there?
Morning.
We soon arrived in Neely, Nebraska, where longtime fireman Kurt set us up with a place to stay for 2 days.
Alright, so this is where we're staying tonight. This is the meeting hall for the fire department.
Day 44, we started our day with a couple of fresh haircuts. And then our host, Kurt, arranged transportation for us to check out the nearby Ashfall fossil bed.
Is an actual fossil bed, a working fossil site. So this is all volcanic ash from a supervolcano that went off a couple million years ago. And you can come over here and see all the fossils and the fossils that have been uncovered from all the animals that died when this volcanic ash settled in this area. This was once a big water hole, and so as the volcanic ash came into the area, the animals began to get sick, and they went to the water hole like most animals do when they're ill, and ended up dying here. So
That night, as we were about to settle in, a storm gave us a spectacular light show. 44 days had passed since we left DC, but for us, this ride was just starting.